Hi Sabrina.
Hi Dee.
Thanks for joining me for coffee. I thought we'd have a good chat about perimenopause because we do this off camera a lot. We talk about our own menopause experience, and I just thought we might share a few things with our listeners today. So how old were you when you first realised that you were perimenopausal?
You know, probably about 51, but to be really honest, at 51, I didn't know the word perimenopause existed. I was way too busy with life stresses and redundancy and starting a new career and all these things, and I had no idea that word was part of...
Like most women.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So at 51...
I think that's when I started to take stock. But to be really honest, when I look back now and go back and chart, I charted all the symptoms I had, and I thought they were all stress related. They were very much perimenopausal. But I just thought, just because I was under so much stress, that accounted for me losing the car keys. And we always say we're getting older, and you just take these things as a normal thing, or you're so stressed. So cholesterol going up, or forgetting to do things, or getting more moody and all these things. I just thought, oh well, it's just all stress related, which is part of it as well.
Yeah. I know, it's interesting. I know we were chatting off camera about you experiencing every 34 of the menopausal symptoms.
Mind you, they're more than 34 because my dentist informed me there are about 10 that are dental related. I almost fell off the chair when you told me that one.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I went to the dentist because I was really concerned because I thought one of my tooth, the gums was receding, and I was going, wait a minute, I'm only 50 something, and she said, oh yes, it's all part of, because we were talking about menopause because that's all I do, and this was quite, a few years back, and she said, oh well, yes, it's all part of menopause, gums receding because it has to do with you losing collagen.
Oh wow.
So, I did a lot of research in terms of collagen to figure out how am I getting collagen back into my diet.
Yes, and how you do that then?
Couple of ways. One way is with bone broth. I know, bone broth, because if you think about it, it's about going back to eat like you used to.
And you're Caribbean roots.
I'm Caribbean roots. We eat everything on the bone, and we make soups and with knuckles and all that stuff. And people say, oh, cool, you eat that stuff. But you know what? In those joints and knuckles is filled with collagen, and if you can make a broth, you can make a vegetarian broth as well, and then you just use that naturally. That helps.
Yeah.
There are collagen supplements, but I try to do it the natural way.
Yes, I think natural wherever we can.
Yeah.
Wherever it's possible is always a good way, isn't it?
Yeah, but there are other ways, other foods to eat and stuff. But the bone broth is probably, how grandma, whenever you're sick, they always eat chicken broth.
Yes. Yeah. Yes,
because it's full of
soup.
Really good stuff.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, isn't it? And the perimenopausal journey, as you say, perimenopause is such a modern word.
Yes.
Now.
That's a good word. Yes.
It's not something that perhaps we even recognised as a word up until very, very recently. I certainly would never have heard my mother mention perimenopause. No. It's a very...
Or
very
menopause.
Well, menopause, no, to be honest, no, they didn't talk about menopause at all.
No, well, did we?
No.
Even as friends, we are only talking about menopause now because we're going through it, and we as women, we've decided we're going to educate ourselves and educate others about it. But when I spoke to my mum about it, she's like, yeah, the hot flushes. She had hot flushes since she was 70.
Wow.
And and all other kinds of problems, and my mum never complained.
Yes, well, that's the generation, isn't it? It's sort of stiff upper lip and got to get on with it.
Yeah.
But we want more now. We're working later, so we're not retiring so soon. Our lives are full of stress. We do try and pack everything in, don't we? And a lot of us, our age group now, are looking after elderly relatives. So our responsibilities have shifted. Maybe the kids have grown up and left, but actually now we're looking after elderly relatives that may have dementia or other health issues. So life does change, but something that's interesting as we go through this journey at Fountain Retreats and certainly the Menopause Chef are the comments that we get through social media, and sometimes it uplifts me, sometimes it really saddens me, and quite often, because of the lack of education out there, women are still misinformed about menopause. For example, somebody messaged me the other day and said, my period stopped 8 or 9 months ago. I haven't had a period since. Does that mean my menopause is over? And it's such a shame, really, that she doesn't recognise that she's actually more likely to be perimenopausal, so leading up to menopause.
Yes.
As we know that doctors or GPs and nurses, etc., will tell us that we need a minimum of 12 months free of our periods.
Yes.
And unfortunately, you could go 12 months and then you could still start spotting or have another period.
Exactly.
It's nothing set in stone. It's
Yes.
It's one of those things that we all have to sort of get our minds around, this perimenopause. I'm still perimenopausal. I'm still waiting for my last period, and it's terribly frustrating because they're still heavy and they're inconsistent, so I never know now when I'm going to have a period, and they could be quite painful, and they're lasting longer than they used to. So everything's starting to change as women worry about weight gain. Especially around the middle, our midriff, they worry about that. Cool, we really go through it as women, don't we? Hormones, hormones in our lives
Well, if you think about it, from teenagers,
yes,
those men really have it easy, don't they? Honestly.
Yeah, we love you guys, but you do have it easy.
You know, they might be slower to take off, but then they just plateau. Yeah. But us women, you know, our bodies prepare to become adults, and then to nurture babies, and then it's like, okay, no more babies, and then it prepares us again for that. And yeah, it's the thing is, we're at different stages because I'm menopausal now, but when I look back, had I known all the things I know now, I could have been so much better prepared.
Yes, I feel exactly the same. Yeah.
And of course, this is what we're trying to do, isn't it?
Yes.
To educate women from very early.
Yes.
So, you know, people might think in your 40s, and I'm thinking back when I was 40 where I was, and yeah, I mean, life was really busy with the kids and everything, but once you're, you know, moving up to 45 and stuff, you ought to think, okay, or just when your body starts doing some different things, you know, you have to start thinking, okay, it is hormonal related? Well, what do I need to do to change? It's midlife. I want to have a healthy life. What do I do?
Yeah, there are so many sad stories that I hear about, and particularly around that sort of the first stages of perimenopause, when we're experiencing brain fog and forgetfulness, and that can be really debilitating, especially if you've perhaps been in a career, you've been very focused, you're naturally somebody that's on the ball and very much in control, and then bang, you know, all of that changes, and you can't remember why you've walked into a room, you lose your car keys, you put things in the fridge that aren't supposed to be in the fridge, and all sorts of things. Funnily enough, I remember my mother, whenever now I realise that it was when she was going through menopause, but the running joke when we were kids, if mum lost something, it was always in the fridge. We'd always check the fridge.
Yes.
And I do it now. Start putting things in the fridge.
Oh gosh.
But we're never too young to start learning about this. You know, talking to women in their late 30s and early 40s, even when they think, oh, it's 10 years away for me, or in some cases they'll be thinking it's 20 years away. Actually, it's not. It's just a few years away, and our hormones really do start changing in that early 40s. But we may not recognise it. We might even have teenagers in the house at that time, and you know, so our hormones are going all over the place, and the teenagers are as well. Mothers and daughters. You know,
I remember
that can be a tough time.
You know, but the thing about it is, a lot of women, myself included, you know, years ago, thought menopause was just hot flushes and night sweats.
Yeah.
And the thing that gets us, what really gets us, is we don't realize it's all the emotional, physical, and mental symptoms.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and those are the things to watch out for. Earlier, when you were talking about this person who's lost their confidence and all this stuff, that was me.
Yeah.
My daughter and husband didn't know what hit them. Because my daughter would say, Mom, why are you asking me these questions? You know this. You know, why have you lost your confidence? And I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, as you know, we cover the whole sort of mental health aspect at the retreats, because, you know, it's a passion of mine and it's a love of mine, and it's really, really so important that we get our mental health into into shape, you
Yeah.
know, because that really helps the physical self.
Absolutely. It's a puzzle. It's like a puzzle, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you've got to get the mental, the physical, the
Yeah.
emotional, you know, the nutritional bit all put together.
Yes,
And if we can do that, you have a healthy rest on midlife, isn't it?
absolutely. So I hope that we can encourage you to come and visit us at the retreats, or at least at one of the cookery schools with the Menopause Chef, Sabrina. And we really look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you for listening to our menopausal ramblings.
Thank you.